I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we are bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. And guess what? We're doing that today with none other than Amani Roberts. How are you today, Amani?
I'm doing well, Kim. Thank you very much for having me.
You're such a modest young man. I have seen all kinds of footage about you, and I'm telling you all that you are in for a tremendous treat today on this episode. So go ahead and grab your virtual seats and let everyone you know that has ever had a dream, ever had a goal, and maybe they've put it on the back burner and just said, not sure how I'm going to be able to balance this goal or this dream while being able to still maintain the income that's coming in. Guess what? They're going to learn how to do that today. Today's episode is sponsored by P. Hankins, LLC. Make sure you all visit phankins.com. She has a retreat coming up, and I really want to make sure that you know it's called Week 40 Transform Your Life Retreat in the Shenandoah Valley area. So make sure you visit there and use the code The Kim Jacobs Show. Woo-sha, we are in for a roller coaster ride. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. Amani Roberts. He is a dynamic entrepreneur, an author, DJ, educator with approximately 2 decades of experience in the music industry. He is the author of DJ's Mean Business, One Night Behind the Turntables. Behind the turntables can spin the company's success, and the USA's today's best-selling author of The Quiet Storm. Now, all of us know about The Quiet Storm, a historical and analysis of the power, passion, and pain of R&B groups. I really am excited about deep diving into that too. Amani hosts Adventures in Business with his co-host, Mandy, a podcast and live streaming show where they explore the intersections of creativity in business and in music. And his expertise, we're going to learn a lot more about him. So I don't want to just go through and rattle off all of his accolades. But yes, he hails business from Berklee College of Music. So he's been there, done that, got a degree for it, a bachelor's, and he also had a perfect 4.0 and a bachelor's in business administration, focusing on hospitality management from Howard University. So he went on to do all kinds of things with his DJ career. But the thing that I think would kind of give us a flavor of what he does is this clip that I found back here. So I want to give you a chance to hear this. Let's learn more about Amani Roberts.
And one thing that we always encourage our volunteers to do is just say yes, and then we'll figure it out together. And that's something that we want to continue to do. You have to determine what kind of requests, what kind of feedback you take, because requests is kind of like feedback. Quick story. I was DJing at a club downtown LA. I had dropped in Juicy by the Notorious B.I.G. and a young lady comes up to me. She says, I think you should play Killing Me Softly by the Fugees. I said, I'll think about it. But the more I thought about it, I said, you know what? She could be right. So what I did is I quickly switched it up, dropped it in. We got to the acapella version, or acapella part of the song at the end, and the whole crowd was singing along. Gave me goosebumps. had to pretty much restart my whole career. But, you know, so far so good, just rebuilding it back up, and I'm much happier as a result.
Networking, who you know, helps to fill approximately 85% of all open positions. This was discussed, and LinkedIn released an article that discussed this as well.
Masterclass, whenever we're interviewing someone, it's like we're attending a masterclass put on by them. They're sharing their subject matter expertise, they're sharing their ups, their downs, what worked in their business, what didn't work in their business, and we just get to talk to them for 45 minutes. It's like a 45-minute masterclass, and it happens every week. This is my first book right here, DJ's Mean Business. When I sent it to the editor the first time, it had 50,245 words. She cut it up, gave me some tremendous advice, and she cut it down to 33,672 words. But this is what happened, is that I sent the book in, I want to say I sent the book in like, we'll say March 2019. When I got back the edits in early April, I was so hurt that I didn't even look at it again until July. 3 months. I was just so hurt. My ego got in the way. But she was right. She was 100% right on all the edits. So not that I wasted 3 months, but I wasted 3 months of time when I could have edited and got the book going. So finally, I was able to get my ego in check and look at the edits and really complete them. And then you send it back again. And she took it actually down to about 30,000 words. I added about 4,000 back. But that was the edits right there. And then what happened is that, and this is just life, but what happened is that my book was supposed to come out December 2019. Mm-hmm. By the time I sent by the edits and went through the process, it came out on April 14th, 2020. Mm-hmm. And we know what we were doing then. No, we weren't doing anything. So I had a whole year, I had a whole year's tour set up, going to international countries to DJ, talk about the book. Had to cancel it. It was delayed, but it wasn't meant to be. But that's just a story about how that trip went.
All right. I really wanted to make sure that you got a chance to just learn a little bit about you. People get a chance to learn a little bit about you. It's sometimes we get a chance to see people in these interviews, but we don't get a chance to see all that you've been through, all that you've done. So way beyond just the bio that I've talked about, I want people to really get a chance to learn who you are beyond the bio. So if you would just take us back on a little bit of your journey and who you are.
Okay. I, originally from the Washington, D.C. area, grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland, went to Howard, and I grew up working in hotels. So I grew up working for Marriott Hotels. I've lived in D.C., Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Miami, L.A., and Las Vegas. I'm a lover of R&B music. I love my slow jams. We will talk about that. Fun, love all my DC sports teams. I'm a big fan of pancakes. Well, that's that's something about me. And that's where I am. I grew up the son of a professor.
Okay.
I never ever wanted to be a professor, and somehow I'm a professor now, and I love it.
And you know what? The thing that we always say we don't want to be, isn't it interesting?
Yes.
Like I know my children are like, oh, I never want to be this. I don't want to be nobody's pastor and leader, all this stuff like that. But guess what? I find that they seem to be gravitating towards some of the things they've always said they wouldn't want to do. Why do you think that's the case? You were fighting so much about it.
Yeah, you just have to let it be, let them or whatever. And so it just happened, and I said yes. That's the key. You gotta say yes, and here we are 8 years later.
That's funny. Now, how does your dad feel about the fact that you actually resisted, but now here you yielded to it?
Unfortunately, my dad, he passed away it's almost 22 years to the date, actually. And so he never got to witness me becoming a DJ in the blood, in the natural, being a DJ and being a professor, but I'm sure he's quite proud. Yes, and so that's kind of the irony of it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we talked backstage about your dad in a picture and things, and you said that you'll be definitely providing one in the near future because as you've moved and transitioned, I'm telling you, I'm a sleuth. I actually can go and find everything, but I could not find this picture of your dad. and I know how much you revered him and talked about him so much. So
Mhm.
I believe that this particular episode is in honor and loving memory of your dad. What's your dad's name?
His name, Dr. Albert Roberts. Dr. Albert Roberts. Yes, he was
Dr.
chairman of the
Albert.
psychology department. Chairman of the psychology department at Howard University.
All right, Dr. Albert Roberts. And he was at Howard University, right?
Yes,
Howard
he was.
University,
Hmm.
professor of
Yes.
psychology. Speaking of which, I'm pursuing my doctoral degree in psychology and theology. And I'm telling you, people that have psychology expertise, they have learned a lot. It's a different part of our brains that we're using.
Yes. This is true. This is true. I would agree.
Absolutely. So this episode is really about balancing the beat, because our show is how do you balance different aspects of your life, things you've had to overcome to become who you are. So what does that title personally mean to you?
Well, I think that it means a few things. When I speak to people in the music industry, when I work with them and coach them, like, you have to have your own ecosystem where you have a nice balance of revenue coming from different sources and you're doing different things. So that's what that means for them. Also, just as a creative and a professional, I know it's very cliche, but you do have to balance yourself both physically in terms of taking care of yourself. And then when you're being creative, you got to figure out different ways to continue to stay creative. So that's what the title means to me.
That's good. That's good. I hope y'all are taking notes out here. Let us know where you're visiting in from. And any questions that you have throughout this conversation, please type them in the comment section and we'll be sure to get them answered. What do you think of some of the mistakes that people have made along the years when they try balancing entrepreneurship with other aspects of their lives? Because it's like some people are failing at it. And it's like, how do you make this come together synergistically?
Yeah, I think there has to be a level of patience. It's very hard. And there's, as we've said before, no such thing as like an overnight success. You have to be patient. You have to continue to show up and take action. I witnessed and personally experienced when you try to implement something that doesn't work, you kind of just stop. And maybe you can't do that. You have to keep taking action and keep moving forward, because if you stop, then nothing will happen. So I think those are the two things. Those are the kind of two common mistakes. The third one would be not surrounding yourself with like-minded people, because you need to surround yourself with people who are going through the same journey as you, so you can share stories. You can lift them up. They can lift you up. That's very important. So those will be the top three.
Wow, this is good. And I'm actually typing over here what you're saying. And these are some great takeaways, y'all. Don't stop, keep going. Amani is saying that. And then also surround yourself with quality people.
Yeah.
That's really good. And how do you know? Because sometimes we want to hang with who we want to hang with. So we don't even consider a person not the quality person per se, because they are our people, if that makes sense, that we bonded with. How do you know if a person is like, I need to distance myself from this situation?
If a person, if they drain you when you're talking to them and you feel, drained, they might not be the best. If they're constantly being negative or critiquing, they might not be the best. If they choose to talk about themselves and never inquire about how you're doing and take time to lift you up without any expectations in return, they might not be the best people. And I think deep down, we know. We know who's good for us and we know who's not good for us. It's just having the courage to kind of step away or walk away. And that takes a lot, because,
you better believe
even if it's family, if it's your sister, your mother, your brother, and they're not good for you, you might have to keep them at a distance, and that can be hard.
That can be really hard. You're already touching on some things that so many people, if we really look internally, inwardly, we would be able to resonate so well with what you're sharing, because a lot of people that we're like, I cannot figure out how to separate myself from this situation, but I know I need to. And and sometimes it's a really hurtful thing within. I experience hurt inside my stomach, in my gut, when I'm realizing that this is not going to work.
Yeah. But at least if you're experiencing hurt, that's kind of a good step. That's a good feeling, because then and you can act on it, and then you can kind of move forward and eventually start to heal. And then once you heal with the new environment, you'll level up, so to speak.
That's right. That's good. Did you always know that music would be a part of your life's purpose, even from a younger age, or did it evolve?
That's a good one. Like, I loved music. I was the one collecting CDs when, during my youth, I'd spend all my money on CDs. So I kind of had an idea. I just did not know how. That's why becoming a DJ was the avenue for me to start. I would have said, no way if I would have written 2 books. No, that was not on the radar. No way if I would have been a music business professor and gone to get a master's degree in music business.
Right.
That wasn't part of the plan, so to speak. But you can't really predict life, and life is very circular, or the journey is not a straight line. So no, but I'm happy I'm here.
Well, I'm happy that you went that route for sure. And I may not have found some of the other stuff, but I found this picture of you DJing.
Oh, yes. Yes, there we go.
What mode do you feel like you're in? Because you're a very corporate guy, but then you're also this entrepreneur, and then you're also this mentor, but then you're also this guy, the DJ. What does it feel like when you're in this mode?
Yeah, that's a good state of flow, especially when you got the crowd going. There's no feeling. I've never experienced anything like that, especially when you have the crowd going and they're singing along and they're in anticipation of the next song you're going to play. And I'm like 3 or 4 songs ahead, just trying to take them on a journey. That's the state of flow that's very unique and it's very fulfilling. And so I can let loose some ways, like you said, I could be a little corporate or traditional, as a friend of mine says, very traditional, but don't sleep. Don't let the smooth taste fool you, as the old beer slogan used to say.
That's so funny. And so what instruments did you play when you were younger? I already know the answer, but I want people to know.
Yeah. Well, I grew up playing the saxophone in like junior high school and high school in the jazz band. We had a phenomenal jazz band at Montgomery Blair High School. So that's what I grew up playing. Then I transitioned to the turntables much later in life, and also picked up the piano. But I'm kind of still like a piano neophyte, not quite there yet. You see it behind me, but I got to practice more.
And then back in your childhood days, I heard that there was this thing called the flute.
Yeah, the flute.
You didn't want me to bring that up, did you?
That wasn't masculine enough for me back then, of course, I'm just being honest, being transparent. Right. Please, no judging. But I had to stop the flute quickly and get to the saxophone. No judging, please.
So the saxophone got you a little more appearance and
yes, a little more cachet, shall we say? Yes.
Cachet. Yes. Okay, that's a good word. Made it a little more cachet. Okay, that's good. That's good. Oh, that's funny. Okay. I was like, I know you're gonna mention that flute, but okay.
Yeah.
But building a dream, I really want to make sure people know too, with building a dream while working 9 to 5, because that's really the crux of today's conversation. I want people to walk away with some tools that they can put in their tool bag. Many people are feeling trapped, especially between security of having the 9 to 5 and then also struggling with dealing with their purpose. So what would you say is someone who's afraid to pursue their dream, all because they need that steady paycheck?
Well, don't give up the steady paycheck. Number one, that's the first rule. Keep that until you can almost not double, but at least you can equal your income. Right. Then maybe you can walk away with some savings. So don't give up the full-time job. Absolutely. I think that comes up to a bunch of things, and I'll mention number one, creative. You got to take a creative risk. You got to go for it. And I always love to talk about Earth, Wind, and Fire, which will be, I think, the slide number 7.
Oh, I have that right there.
Yes, Earth, Wind, and Fire. And so I love Earth, Wind, and Fire for many reasons. First of all, they took a creative risk because they were a very popular group. And back in the day, they wanted to make sure that their live shows were memorable and epic. So what they did is that they actually solicited the help of a magician. A magician that many of you have heard of. And so it's a famous magician, David Copperfield.
Oh, yeah.
They work with David Copperfield to make their live shows memorable, creating many illusions and different visual experiences. So they took a creative risk. And now their live shows are, epic. Like you can't really top them, so to speak. So that's one thing, is that if you have a dream or you have to take a creative risk. Then and we kind of talked about it before, but then you have to be resilient. And I think resilience is an underrated kind of characteristic. And I love to tell the story. I think, slide 32. So it's the whispers. And I love talking about the whispers because I'm trying to see here with the whispers. Let's see if I can get it here. Where are they?
Slide 32. All right.
Slide 32. You got it there.
I got it. Let's pull them up. Hold on here.
Pull up the whispers there. Where we at?
And just so you all that are just tuning in, Amani is really heavy into utilizing illustrations pertaining to R&B artists and how it
Yes.
relates to how you're able to use that with your own goals and dreams as you're pursuing your life's purpose. All right, so
Yes.
talk to us about the whispers.
So the whispers. And so first, I forgot to ask you, am I allowed to play any music clips while we're here? Is that allowed, or should I stay away?
No, you know what? You're welcome to, but what happens is we won't be able to get monetized. It's
okay. So I will do that. I won't do that.
But feel free, because if it's going, it makes sense for some of the stuff that's happening. So feel free.
Well, we'll see. So the Whispers, I love their story because they first released their first single in 1964.
Mm-hmm.
One of their goals was to have a Billboard Hot 100 top 10 song. And this is on the main charts, not the R&B charts, but the big charts where you have all the genres: country, pop, hip hop, rap, all the genres in R&B. They didn't get their Billboard Hot 100 top 10 hit for 23 years. You know, the number one TV show when they first started was Bonanza. Okay, Bonanza, 1964. By the time they got their number one hit, no, it was number 7, Rock Steady. I would play Rock Steady.
Go ahead and play it. We can't. There's no way we can not have rocks. Hey, forget some money. We just got to go ahead and go all the way in. Rocks.
Yes, so that's Rock Steady. They had that, and they
put it closer to the mic. We can't hear it.
You can't hear? Oh, I played it already. It didn't come through. Maybe it didn't come through. So hold on. Let's see here. It didn't come through. Let me make sure my little sound is, because I heard it on my end. But anyways, I'll figure that out. Because I have this little device here. Hold on. Let's see here. Yeah, it should come through. So it might not have played. But anyways, Rocksteady got to number 7. It took them 23 years. So I always ask people, what were you doing like 23 years ago? And resilience. So that's another aspect. Resilience right there. So that's kind of the top 2. I mean, I can keep going, but that's the top two outs to share for right now.
Well, wait a minute. I might as well I got to find the Rock Steady now. Isn't it? We're not going to get, if you played any part of it, it's not going to get play some of it. Hold on.
Okay. It should come through.
Wait 1 second. I'm going to find it here. I got it.
And I'll try it again. You want to hear?
Huh?
Okay. I can play it again and see if you hear it. You want to try that?
Wait. Hey, I'm over here jamming because I can hear it myself. Hey, hold on. We're going to do the old school stuff, y'all. Give me a second. All right. Let me put this up. This is good. All right. We're going to enjoy ourselves. Y'all going to jam a little bit today. This is the Whispers with Rock Steady.
Yeah.
Let's pull that up and play it for a second.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Here we go. Go ahead. Enjoy. Hey.
There you go.
Hey. That was my 2-step back in the day.
Yep, that works.
I looked at you, you stole my heart. You are all that I anticipated. I wanted you, every part, but I knew love would be complicated. I began to touch, but you wouldn't let it. It never seemed to be the right time. I started to give up, down to the limit. And then you changed your mind.
Hey, this is it.
To rock steady.
Hey.
Rocking all night.
All right.
Okay, we good.
Rock. That's that rock. Yeah. All right.
We good. There you go. Thank you for playing that. Yes.
All right. Okay, that loosens us up a little bit, right? Anybody felt that in the audience over there? That's funny. Okay. So finish your point that you were making about the Rock Steady. What was the point of that?
Oh, the point was just that it took them 23 years to get there, but they were resilient. They went through many different producers. They created and released so much music. And finally, they got to their goal after 23 years. So you've got to be resilient.
So no matter how long it takes, don't give up. Just still move forward, regardless of what it looks. Because there are a lot of different pitfalls, obstacles, things that's happening along our way. And we're like, this does not look like it's going to turn into anything that we had in our minds per se. But 23 years went by and they still ended up becoming a huge success from everybody's perspective, you know?
Yeah, yeah. The key is it seems very cliche and very simple, but you can never give up. It seems cliche, but it's very hard to follow. So that's why I always share that.
Now, did you personally build your own business while working full time as well?
Yeah, so I built my business. I started to build my business while working for Marriott, but then I left Marriott probably a little too early, but I was not happy and it was time to go.
Okay.
So I had to kind of learn on the fly, which is why then, as I was building my DJ business even more, I had the opportunity to become a college professor and I took it because you start to stack on different revenue. We call them revenue fountains because revenue streams end. So we build on more revenue fountains. And that really, really kind of helped set me up for success.
That's good. I love that. Revenue fountains. Yo, we're getting so many great tips already from Amani.
Yeah.
Revenue fountains because streams end. So I put that over here. Make sure y'all are taking these notes yourself.
I got to give proper credit to Julie Holmes. She taught me that. So Julie Holmes, she taught me that. So I got to give proper attribution.
Julie Holmes said revenue fountains versus revenue streams because streams do end. What did that season actually look like for you when you were going through transitioning from your job to entrepreneurship?
That was a tough season. I mean, living in California, I wouldn't recommend leaving a 6-figure job to basically start over again. That's not how I wouldn't recommend doing that. Very difficult. I was fortunate to have savings. Along the way, I also attended Scratch Academy twice, a school for DJs. Okay. That really helped me with the education part and how to build the business. So I always recommend investing in yourself, especially when you're going to go and be an entrepreneur. You have to learn from people who've done it before you and to know the best practices. I know it can be scary to invest in yourself, but you must, because all the high achievers, they invest in themselves consistently. So that's one thing that I did, even when I was kind of struggling. I did that. I was open to opportunities. Like when the professor position came by, a month or 3 weeks before the semester started, I was quite scared, but I said yes. And I said, I'll figure it out. And I did. And then just, another key is that tap into local associations. For me, the association that really changed the game for me was Meeting Professionals International. I first was a volunteer with the Southern California chapter. Then they asked me to be on the board. Because I was on the board and I was vice president of education. That's how I met people at Cal State University Fullerton who then called me and were like, we have an open position. It's all about getting into associations. Even now, to try to grow business, if you speak in front of associations, people in the audience can hire you. So I think that's underrated completely. So those are probably 3 of the things that I learned. And I just had good people around me to support. We were going through the same things at the time. I had another friend, Nicole. She's a photographer. She was going through it. Danielle, Heather was a photographer. Danielle, she was a architect, engineer. So we had a group of us, and we went through together, and it's really important. So those are some of the keys that I learned.
That's really good. So it sounds like you had the teamwork, some support, people supporting you, and joining local associations, getting hired by some of the people in the audience for different projects. And that's something that most people don't always talk about. So I think that was a really good point to make. What sacrifices do you feel are really necessary that people are not recognizing that they need to make if they're looking to balance their 9-to-5 and entrepreneurship?
Number 1 would be time. A lot of your free time, is going to be going to grow your business. So time, you might have to sacrifice some friends if they're not with it, because you will have people that question, why would you leave a good job? Why would you do that? And we don't need that energy around us. We need support. It's hard enough on our own. So we need some good energy around us. So I would say time, number 1, friends, number 2. Of course, you got to invest some money. Let's call a spade a spade. You have to invest money. And then I'm thinking of the best way to kind of share this, but it's really like how you're going to have to sacrifice how you're going to look to other people, which is not really important. Like, you shouldn't care, but we're humans and we do care. So a lot of people are going to look at you like, oh, that's interesting. Why are you doing this? Or, it looks like you lost your job, even though you decided to leave.
Right.
Sacrifice a little bit of your perceived reputation when you know what's going on. And a lot of times people can't get past that because they're very focused on how they're perceived in public or with friends. But if you can get past that and build and you start to have some wins, then that's going to change anyways. So those would be the top 4 things I believe you're going to have
That's
to
good.
sacrifice as you go.
So I'm putting that on the screen. Your time, friends, investing your money, sacrifice how you are perceived by others. These are some important tips if you're needing to make some necessary sacrifices that would help you be able to have a smooth transition from your 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship. This is good. Oh, I'm taking all kind of notes. I'm taking notes myself, Amani, so I can go back and later watch it. How did you
That's
know?
good. That's good.
How did you know when to invest in your dream versus just talking about it? Because it comes a time when the money has to match your mouth and your words.
Yes, I would say for me, I had recognized I had hit a plateau. So, for example, for Scratch Academy, I was like a self-taught DJ. I was horrible in retrospect. I was not very good. One of my closest friends in life, once again, your friend who's around you, Josh, he said, I went to Scratch Academy and I think you'd benefit. He said, I know you know how to DJ, but I think this can help you be better.
Right.
And that's what you want to hear. That's what you want to hear. And, I trust him with my life.
Mm-hmm.
So it was no question. So immediately I signed up for one class and I said, okay, this is where I need to be. So I went to the school. It's like getting your master's degree in DJing. It was a great experience. Opened myself up to a totally new group of people. Went back twice. Then when I got to a plateau in my business, this is many years later, and I wanted to establish myself more as like a speaker and an author, etc. So I invested one time to write my first book. Then I invested again to really start to learn how to grow my speaking and my coaching program. And these are not cheap investments, but I'm thinking of the long term. And so I'm just a really big advocate of investing. I invested in education to get my master's degree so I could continue to be a professor because I knew that I loved it. And I knew that I was experienced enough to know that if you find something that you love to do, and you can get paid for it, especially nowadays, you have to do what you can to hold on to it because that is a rare feeling. Many, many people, I know the stats are out there, 85, 90% of people hate the job. They don't like the job that they're in. They're not working. They hate it. So if you have the opportunity to recognize, for me, like, I love being a professor. I need to figure out how to hold on to this because this fills me up and you get paid. What do I need to do to keep growing? And that's my philosophy. Usually it's when you hit a plateau or another door opens and you want to get through the door and stay, you might need to invest.
That's good. That's good. If you're ready to get through another door, let the door open and go forward with investing in what you know is your goal or your dream. And according to the Pew Research Center shows that 12% of U.S. workers actively dislike their jobs. However, broader studies indicate that up to 70% of employees are completely disengaged and feel their roles fall short of quality standards or actively dislike their work. So it's a lot of people are not happy at work, unfortunately.
Yeah. There's like an old wise tale. It might be true, but the most common days for heart attacks are Monday mornings. I heard Les Brown say that. I heard Les Brown. No, Les Brown's been on the show.
Yes, we love Les Brown.
Say that. He said that the most common day for heart attacks is Monday mornings.
Wow. Yeah, because people are doing things that they just are. I've also heard Les say this. I mean, many people die at a certain age, at the age of 25 or something. They just waiting for the grave to actually meet them where they are.
Yes.
Because they're pretty much the walking dead. And that's a problem. So we cannot go through life just being like so routine that we don't get any of our goals and dreams accomplished. That God is really actually He's trusting us with these goals and dreams.
Yeah. I think what's the quote? The most people die at the age of like 29, but don't get buried until 69.
65
something like that.
or something.
Paraphrasing. Yes.
Right. That's the point. So we don't want to be those people. I don't want to be that person.
Yes.
So what do you think are some of the mistakes that people make when they're trying to balance entrepreneurship and career? Anybody also, before he answers that, all of Les Brown's quotes are everywhere across the internet. So make sure that you go and check them out because you will be a better person if you listen to Les Brown's teachings because greatness is in each and every one of us. Okay. So go ahead.
Yeah.
I forgot what I said. I'm sidetracked.
Sorry. You asked about other mistakes.
Right. What are some mistakes that people make when they're trying to balance entrepreneurship with their career? Because there may be some that stand out on the top of your mind.
I know it might sound repetitive, but like just have the proper mindset. We want to have the growth mindset, the abundant mindset, not scarcity. And I think that can be overlooked. So you want to have the growth mindset where you're always a student, you're forever a student, you're learning. because you're going to learn some harsh lessons as an entrepreneur. So as long as you have the right mindset and put in the right perspective, you'll be fine. And then, just all the ones we've covered before, it's pretty simple, but just have the right mindset, I think, is one I didn't share, which I do believe is important.
Okay. So abundant growth mindset, always learning. And I know that if somebody ever says Kim feels like she's arrived, I will never arrive. I feel like that I'm always going to be ever learning, becoming, evolving, and becoming a better version of whatever God has in store for me. And when I arrive, I'm in heaven. Okay. That's so y'all know that. So that's the day you can say Kim arrived. Okay. All right. All right. So the other thing that I'm thinking is, how do you protect your mental health? Because there's so much happening across the land and around the world. How do you protect your mental health and your relationships while juggling some of the things that you're doing with all of these responsibilities?
Yeah, that's a constant. Let me see the best way to say it. That's a constant work of art, so we speak. Constant practice. I try to, stay away from the news and social media, because that can take you down a brutal rabbit hole. So that's one thing. You still need to know what's going on in the world.
Yes.
Just figure out one place or a reliable source to get it, but no doom scrolling. That's one. For me, exercise is also important. You exercise consistently. That's the challenge, is to stay consistent. I like to read, but particularly like fiction books, which can kind of let you escape to another world.
Yeah,
so read,
okay.
Of course, I'm always around music, so music helps. Traveling works too. And you don't have to go across overseas or to the islands or whatever. You can go a couple towns over or another state over. Just traveling, getting to a new environment. Those are some things that I like to do. I also do improv. So I'm part of the
I can imagine you in an improv. Okay.
It's funny. Yeah, I can be funny and be. I'm still working on being my Natalie, my teacher. She says, I need to work on being believable. So I'm still working because, corporate kind of very, not subdued, just very chill and laid back. So
right.
Improv helps a lot, just to get you out of adult play. So just doing different things to get you experiencing and learning new things. Okay. Like I want to learn how to play Mahjong. That's something I want to learn how to do. So you take classes, just different things to help you kind of balance out.
I would love to learn salsa and some things that I would be interested in. I read a lot. I read very often. I love traveling. I love the movies. I love skating, but even though I don't do it because I fell one time recently, and I had to call my son out in the garage. I was like, this is crazy.
No. Salsa's good though. Just remember, count 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, because I know I've done salsa. So yes, just think of that, and then stretch out the hips. We got to stretch out the hips too.
Oh, I can stretch. I can stretch.
Okay.
I can do it. All right. I'm almost there. I'll become a salsa queen. Right.
There we go.
This is good. So no doom strolling. Yes, we do need to stay abreast of what's happening, and definitely need to know what's happening around the world in some regards, and keep families in prayer, because it's a lot of tragedy taking place, and we know that as well. No, exercising consistently, reading, music, traveling. These are all tips that you are sharing. So I love everything that we're discussing today. If you all have any questions and comments as well in the studio audience, I love the opportunity to pull them up on the screen and get your questions answered directly. So let's see. I saw some. Oh, hey, my mom is on. She said, hey, good morning, Amani and Kim.
Hi, Mom.
I am watching this great show and taking notes this morning. My mom has a binder where she takes notes on.
All right. I love it.
Do you think that's important too, to take notes?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I should show you what I have. Where's my little binder here? Hold on. I'm going to show you real quick. I have these. You'll remember these. So when we were growing up, you have these little notebooks right here. Yes, I have this everywhere I go. This is
I have hundreds of those. Hundreds.
Yep. So
and they're
I agree.
all filled.
Yes. Now the key is, once you fill them up, you must go back and take action into what you've written down. That's what we have. We go to these conferences and these events, and we fill up our notebook, but then we just don't take action. So the key is to take action. I need to work on that myself. Do as I say, not as I do.
That's really good, because I agree with that. I actually was going through some important papers the other day, and I saw those binders that I have, and then I pulled each of the pages out that were action steps that I never acted on. I said, look at this. I'm sitting here coming up with new strategies, Amani, and I already have strategies that I already strategized about years ago. Pull those sheets out and start implementing it immediately.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yep.
that's good. So you and I are thinking alike. That's for sure.
Yes.
So
Great minds.
great minds, right, or God minds, however God is doing to use us. But you often teach that creativity is good for business. How can someone who says I'm not creative unlock their creative side? You are creative. Not everybody's like that.
Well, I would respectfully disagree with someone says they're not creative, because I think we are all creative. We're born creative. And the challenge is that as we get older and hear the word no and experience, failure, our creativity gets beaten out of us figuratively and not figuratively. And I think that we have to get back to where we were as a child when we were our most creative, whether it be with like Legos, or we would create different universes when we're playing with our friends or our action figures or our Barbie dolls, whatever. Like we were our most creative as a youth. So my goal when I work with my clients is to help them get back to their youth. Like, an exercise you could do is think about your room, how your room looked when you were growing up, and then you had the posters up and you had all sorts of things in the room and what you had there. Like, let's get back some of those. Maybe you get a picture or a poster of who you had in your room back in the days, whatever. Let's write a letter to your younger self, giving that person advice based on what you've learned. Let's go on an artist date. Julia Cameron, let's take yourself on an artist date, which is kind of feeds into the balance point, where let's maybe go to a museum and just walk around and take everything in and think about how you can be creative. Let's go have breakfast on the beach and just sit there and think. Let's go for a walk. Take yourself on an artist date every week to help unlock your creativity. I say all that to say that there's creativity all around us. I don't want anyone to submit to the notion that they're not creative, because I would respectfully disagree. And let's figure out how we can get you back to how you were your most creative, which is more than likely when you were a child.
That's why I was trying skating, Amani, because I used to go to the skating rink every week. And then we would take our skates off and go in the middle of the floor and dance Planet Rock. It's the show. We would be just like having the best time ever. So I agree with that. I just recently went to a farmer's market and they had big pieces of chalk, and I sat on the ground and just drew some flowers. And I love double dutch, but then I was like, well, I was going to slip the disc in my back out.
Yeah. We have to go a little slower. We can't go fast like we used to go double dutch, but we can still jump. They just got to turn the ropes a little slower.
Right. So listen, everybody that's just tuning in, we're talking today with Amani Roberts, who's teaching us about balancing the beat, how to build your dream while still working that 9-to-5 job. So we are learning so many valuable tips today, and I have thoroughly already enjoyed our time that we have together. Okay, so what are some of the lessons that's being a DJ? You've been a DJ, and you still are a DJ. Let's talk about leadership, because you're also a leader as well. So
a leader in terms of being a DJ, like you have to, one of the best characteristics of a DJ is reading the room.
That's what I thought.
So you got to learn how to read the room, and the goal, and then in business, the same way, or being a professor, the same thing. You want to be able to engage everyone in the room with the proper way that they like to learn. We have some people who are visual learners, auditory learners, written, people who learn better by writing. So you have to meet people where they are. In terms of reading a room, as a DJ, you got your crowd out here that's dancing in the middle of the crowd, hearing Planet Rock and going for it. But we want to get that person that's on the periphery, that's just kind of looking at the dance floor, but a little bit wary or scared. Right. What can we play to get them on the dance floor? Because that's the goal. Mm-hmm. The goal is that you have your 90% of the people on the dance floor, but you want to get that one person that's on the sidelines. You want to say, what can I play to get them on the dance floor? As a leader, you want to say you have the majority of people who are with you, but how can you get the people who maybe are not with you or don't trust you? What can you do to get them involved and get them engaged? And that's reading a room. And I think that's one of the most important skills of a DJ. No two rooms are ever the same. Right. We're always different people at different points in our life experiencing different emotions. There's no way that the dance floor can be the same day after day. It's always different. So reading a room would be the one leadership strategy that you can take from being a DJ.
That's good. Okay. I was actually looking too to see if I could find the Planet Rock, because since we already played some music, we might as well play whatever we want.
We'll look for it. We can look for it later. I'll look for it.
But Planet Rock is something that I know when I was back in the day, I would take our skates off and we formally would go and get on the dance floor. It was like a whole thing. It was like, party people, it's time to let's get going here, you know? And so let's see. I'm going to share a quick screen here with Africa Bambata. I didn't even know who the person was that did this, but it's okay. I know I enjoyed it thoroughly. Here we go. Real quick. Get funky, he said. Okay.
Yo, get funky. So Sonic Force, yo, get funky.
Sonic Force.
The Zulu Nation, yo, get funky.
All right. Hey.
Yeah, just hit me. Just face the ball and hit me.
Did you used to dance to this back in the day?
Slow down and hit me.
I was probably
Too young?
probably a little too young. I was right after this. I'm more like, Run DMC, UTFO.
But anyway, that right there, that's the whole thing. I really enjoyed Planet Rock back in the day. That was one of my childhood.
I know about the song. Yes.
Well, I know one thing that you've done is you've actually worked for companies like Marriott, Taco Bell, Sherwin-Williams, Calendly, a lot of places. And so with these organizations, and they're very successful, what are some of the things that you feel, I'm trying to think with that these type of, not just those organizations, but any organizations miss or lack when it comes to creativity, dealing with people that are creative like yourself, because you're a very creative person. So coming into the fold of all of these well-known corporations, what do you think a person that will be watching that's maybe from a company like that could take away from what you might share with them?
I think many companies underestimate the importance of creativity. And so they underestimate how much that if you encourage a creative atmosphere and environment in your company and your business, how that can directly affect the bottom line in a very positive way. If you make it part of your culture and encourage people to create and be creative, you would be very surprised at some of the things that people will make and create that will help the business move further, that will solve problems. So I personally feel that these companies should spend as much money as they're spending on leadership and sales training, on creativity training, and helping people bring it back, because in some instances, it can be more financially beneficial than leadership training. It can be more financially beneficial than teaching people about new sales techniques. People know how to sell, but they need to know how to be creative while selling. And so I think there's just a huge underestimation of the value of creativity. And so the companies that you're seeing excel in the current environment are being creative, trying different things, and are of that culture.
That's really good. And you could actually, and now being your agent, right? So you could go back to each of these companies with your turntable DJ experience and corporate experience and come to provide a really great team building exercise, out of the box strategy, because you've been on the inside. Have you been doing that as well?
Yeah. So I do that. Of course, I need to promote it more and do that. But absolutely, it's just getting to the right people. But yes, absolutely.
Well, that's good, because I could see you being a valuable asset to any of these companies that you've already been in. Go back and do national tours. I did that when I was in the pharmaceutical sales. When I was out of the industry, I went back and did Leading Effectively Through Times of Change workshops regionally. And because I was already on the inside, I knew the language. I knew I progressed to certain levels. So I knew how to help with productivity. And I think that's something you would be very effective at. So what's one lesson, in your opinion, that you've learned from dealing with the turntables, as far as what you would think maybe every entrepreneur should know?
So a lesson I learned from the turntables, like we talked about taking risks. I think, when you're a DJ, you take a risk every song you play, reading a room, feedback. So funny story is that when I was DJing, I would DJ at this club every Friday night for like 4 years running. And I'd also drive for Uber. So at the end of the night, I'd leave the club, I'd turn on the Uber meter app and would pick up someone. Most times it was from that exact club that I was DJing. So I'd take them home and I'd be like, oh, what'd you think of the DJ? What'd you think? Did you like the music? And you get feedback. And so you got to recognize that feedback is a gift. And so they would tell me, this one guy, I'll never forget, he said, I like the DJ, but he's got to do a better job of getting the ladies on the dance floor. But that's the priority, is get the ladies on the dance floor. Here are some of the songs he can play. He was very direct, but he was very good. I said, I was a DJ. I'm going to take your feedback and try it out. Come back in a few weeks and see how I do. And sure enough, his suggestion, it worked, because he was right. So you get the ladies on the dance floor is packed. And so and it's funny because I didn't pick him up the next time to take him home, but he just saw me there. He just kind of nodded, gave me a thumbs up. So feedback is a gift, and it's hard to not take it personal. Trust me.
I actually saw in your video clip about the book that you wrote, and then the editor cut it down by like over 20,000 words or something ridiculous. Yes. You're like, oh my God, this is hurting my feelings.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Yes, the ego. So the first book, I started in, I was so proud. 55,000 words. It's going to be a beautiful book. And she tore that book up. She gave me some of the greatest advice. She said, you have to write by trying to use all 5 senses. I always forget one of the senses, like sight, smell, seeing, hearing, taste. And you want to try to take your readers through that journey in everything you're writing, so that you can meet as many of the 5 senses as possible. Mm-hmm. So she took out a lot of the stuff. And so then, as I said in the video, it took me a long time to get through the edits because I was hurt. And so it cost me, because instead of coming out in December, it came out in April, and we were in the middle of the pandemic. Fast forward to the second book. Once again, I turned it in 135,000 words. It's like, oh my gosh.
You mean to tell me you wrote more words? You know she was going to get you.
More. And so I had a different editor. Once again, she took it down to about 90,000 words. Now, a lot of it was, we were not allowed to have lyrics in a book because that was the R&B book. Okay. So you're not allowed to have lyrics. But still, I did not delay. I took those edits. I said, thank you, edit, turned it back in within 2 weeks, and kept along so we can meet our launch date of February 2025. So I learned my lesson, and I had my ego in check completely. And so that's probably one of the biggest lessons. I learned a lot of lessons from writing a book, 2 books. Right. But that one there, just, being able to check your ego and not take the edits personally, because they're doing it for the love of the book. It's not about me, it's about the reader. And so that's like a big lesson that I learned.
That's good. Great lesson to learn. And we all need to be open to great feedback. Feedback is the bloodline, as many people talk about, to champions. Every champion has experienced receiving some significant feedback that's made them a better version of themselves. All of us have to be open to feedback. I do want to take a moment to invite you all to support the Kim Jacobs Show broadcast. We come into your home, and you're able to watch our program each weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m., right from the comfort of your home. Or even if you're just listening from an audio component, we have it on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Music, you name it, it's happening everywhere. WDRB Media Network on Saturdays at 9 p.m., a nationally syndicated radio broadcast. We're over on Roku and on Apple TV with CTR Media Network. When you download that app, we're under the Self-Improvement channel. Listen, support our broadcast and allow us to continue to bring balance to the world, one household at a time. And these are the different ways you can do it. If you're an audio listener, you can do Venmo at The Kim Jacobs Show. You can do paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. Or you can also become a Patreon member, or Zelle, or Apple Cash. And those are different ways. 704-962-7161. All right. So I wanted to pull this in because I wanted to find out what inspired you to write this book, The Quiet Storm.
Yeah. I love my book.
I love it too.
My thesis in grad school was why there are no longer any Black R&B groups. When I was doing the research, 99.9% of all R&B groups are Black, African-American. And so I just took the whole genre, R&B groups. They disappeared, starting from the 1950s all the way to the mid-2000s. R&B groups were dominant on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. Once again, it's the main charts, the one that have every genre. R&B groups were dominant. My favorite fact is that there was a week in July in 1997, and 14 out of the top 20 hits on the Billboard Hot 100 charts were R&B groups. And then you fast forward to almost a decade later, and they disappeared. Yes. And so what happened? Why did they disappear? And what's going to happen next? And there hadn't really been a book written about this. And I went through the grad school process, and many of my advisors said, you have something more than just a thesis paper here. This can turn into a lot.
Yes.
So the first step is I turned it into a book. Took 4.5 years from the start of the research to the release. There you go. That's the persistence and resilience right there.
Yes.
Ironically, everything I speak about and coach about, I've experienced because I had somebody around me that was not good for my creativity. So that stifled me for almost 9 months. And that's part of the journey. So I had to get them out. and then continue to start writing, and then we have our final product, and made the USA Today's bestseller list number 50. We're in the newspaper. It was amazing. It is amazing. Now the goal is I continue to spread the word about the book. First, we want to turn it into a trivia game, and then second, we want to turn it into a documentary. So that's kind of a synopsis of what the book is about, why I wrote it, and where we are right now.
That is so epic. And what's one of your favorite, or even one or two of your favorite R&B groups?
That's a loaded question. This is what
I know.
This is
and
what
you've written about all of them.
I have, yeah. It's at least 70 years. There's a whole bunch of groups in there. I will say that the Isley Brothers, I feel, are a group that are not talked about enough in terms of legends.
Mm-hmm.
They are the only group in history to have 6 hits in 6 straight decades, starting in the 1950s all the way to the 2000s. Their first Billboard Hot 100 was a shout. You know, you make me want to shout. That song, that was in 1959. Yes. And then you go all the way, every decade they had hits, all the way through the 2000s when they had Contagious with Shantae Moore and R. Kelly.
Yes.
And you know, that's 2000s, that's current. And I just think they're not talked about. So that's one group I always mention. Of course, I love my New Edition. That's how I first fell in love with R&B. Any group I talk about, yeah, like I mean, we could go SWV, Boyz II Men, TLC, In Vogue. I think, you know, In Vogue is a group that I always use talk about the old Greek mythology. I think it's Greek mythology where Icarus flew too close to the sun and got his wings burned, so he fell. Like, I view In Vogue as a group like that. Like, they never had a Billboard Hot 100 #1 song. They always came in second, and I think that they broke up before they could do more because they were great. Another group I feel that was ahead of their time, Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. And they're in the 50s and 60s.
Right.
And they were able to unite people before. This is during civil rights. They were able to move the crowd, an all-white crowd, get them dancing when they didn't want to dance.
Yes.
You know, and there's a story in there about how they actually had the show told the white attendees of the event to not dance, but they still resisted it and danced, and ended up the white girls were dancing with the Frankie Lyman and Teenagers, and that was taboo back then. And so what happened is that they actually canceled the TV show because of this. So they were way ahead of their time.
Right, of course.
They were young. Frankie Lyman was the perfect front man. He could sing his, you know, flat-footed, as we say, you know, just stand there and sing, flat-footed, as we say.
Yeah.
So those are just a few stories, a few groups, but I love the book. I love the reception. I'm just continuing to spread the word.
Y'all make sure you get a copy of this book, because The Quiet Storm, you got to get you a cup of tea or coffee or something, just decaf and wind down with a blanket, because it's going to take you back down memory lane, baby. You cannot read that book and not go back and listen to all the songs that's being referenced in the book. So in the people and what their journey, about how they balanced their lives and what they had to overcome and endure to become who they ultimately are. So I'm really grateful that you took this approach. Now, you've earned $1 million in revenue yourself. And what do you contribute your success to, as far as what it means to you today versus when you maybe even started back in the day, when you first started? Because it means probably a lot more now than it did back in the day.
Well, yeah, I think it means that the business I have works, but it's always a challenge. Like, you have to keep it going because you earn revenue, but of course you got to pay taxes, you got to invest in yourself, you got to buy new equipment, so it never ends. So the key is consistency, and so really growing your revenue fountains consistently, so you can kind of continue to earn revenue. And it's tough in entrepreneurship. It's very volatile. You could have a phenomenal first quarter, you could have a soft second quarter, you could have a great third quarter, you could have a terrible fourth quarter. It's up and down. So my goal is to really figure out the best way to make it just more consistent, more predictable, so that you stress out less.
Stress out less. Somebody type that. Be consistent and predictable, so you stress less.
That's the goal now. That's the goal now. Yeah.
Now, and then another thought that I had is, like, what is like one habit that you do every single day, in your opinion, that has had the greatest impact on your personal success?
Well, I would say like, journaling in the morning, but I've been very deficient at that. I've kind of slacked on that. That would be the one I would want to do every day, but I'm kind of slacking on that.
So this
So
is your confession moment. You're gonna do
yes,
that.
yes, I'm in the confessional, so forgive me. Um, there's a lot of habits. I'm just trying to think of something I do consistently besides showing up. I think you don't underestimate showing up.
You do
And I
that.
think that, yeah, if you show up every day, good things will happen. So that's the habit I'll go with. I'll just say showing up is the one. And I want to add in journaling. I need to start doing that more.
Well, this show gave you the opportunity to remind yourself how important journaling is to you, but you already show up and you show up in a great way. What's one first step you think anybody that's watching today that's transitioning and not even transitioning, they're wanting to have a successful career and become a successful entrepreneur so they can properly step over? What's one step they can take starting this week?
Make a list of like maybe the top 20 things they want to do and write them down. And then once you get to 21, see what keeps showing up. Keep writing, because there'll be similar things that show up, see what keeps showing up, and that's what you should pursue. So make a list, you can get out all the stuff that you want to do, and then you keep writing. Once you get to 21, 30, pay attention to those, because those are the ones that really continue to resonate.
That's good. Write your 20 things down, y'all, and make sure what resonates. And the one thing that I talk about in my book is making sure Extreme Balance Makeover is making sure that you get the advice of others around you, and whatever people seek advice from you about, typically that's something that you need to also be looking into, because people are needing that specific gift and service from you. And does faith play any kind of specific role in your life and what you value and the decisions that you make as a business owner?
So I would say yes, faith, and then specifically just about having the confidence and the faith that one way or other it's going to work out. Like one way or other it's going to work out, and just trying to stay positive and believing that everything that's for you will happen.
Okay.
And so that can be difficult at times.
All right.
At times we lose faith, but that's generally the foundation that you believe in. So no matter what you're going through, if you keep the faith, I know it's very cliche, everything that's for you will happen.
Keep the faith, and everything that's for you will happen. I hope you all are going to go back and listen to every point that was made in this episode, because it really has been a game-changing experience. And this is the final thing I'll do is it's a flash round, because I think people will want to know, do you like coffee or tea? Tell us.
Ooh. So my friend laughs at me. I like neither. I like hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate. I said coffee or tea. I like hot chocolate too, but I didn't think to put that. Okay. Are you a morning person or a night person?
Night.
Night. Okay. We already talked about some of your favorite groups, and that was one of my questions. What's your favorite song that you like to use to DJ?
Oh, there's so many. I like Paid in Full, Eric B. and Rakim.
Oh my gosh, you're really that guy. Okay. And then you're also a mentor. I really don't want to brush past that too quickly. Just let people hear that you enjoy mentoring children as well. You want to speak about that for a brief moment as well?
One of my favorite things of mentorship is when I have my students who've taken my class at Cal State University Fullerton are out in the professional world, and they come back and they speak to my current students. Mm-hmm. That I think is the ultimate form of mentorship, and that fills me up to no end. Yes, so there's a picture. So you have Phoebe, bottom left. She's come back 3 times. You have Rachel, who's 2 to the right of her. She's come back 3 times. That has filled me up to, it's such a feeling. It's hard to describe. I'm so proud, and they inspire me to keep teaching. And I created the music business class and program at Cal State Fullerton. This was our first class that we had over 3 or 4 years ago. And so I just get emotional. I'm so happy because we've come so far. So yeah. Good pull.
I had to find that picture. I said we can't close.
Yes.
That was good. That was good.
Yes. I approve.
He approves of this message. What's one word that you hope God uses to describe you?
Ooh. I would say like a unicorn, like a one of one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You have just made my heart so glad. And I know that you've made God's heart glad. I'm hear the heart beating. Yes. Okay, y'all listen. This is a Amani Roberts. And I want people to know how they can stay connected with you, because we're getting ready to end today's episode, even though I don't want to. But what's a way that people can stay connected to you?
Well, definitely, like, your community is perfect, because if you're in a 9 to 5 and you want to learn how to like unlock your creativity, I work a lot with musicians and authors, and you want to learn, like, AmaniExperience.com. That's my website. You could do AmaniExperience.com/call, CALL, and set up a free call, and I can talk to you about the options, share with you my story. But those are my people, the 9 to 5s, creatives who want to start something else on the side. These are my people. I love to talk and share. That's my message.
Yeah, make sure you connect with Amani Roberts, because I believe that your life will be better as a result of connecting with him. And his pleasant behavior, his demeanor, he was the same way backstage, and just warm and inviting. And I think that anybody that encounters him will have a better outcome in their lives, all because you've experienced him. So thank you for being our special guest today here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Thank you all in the virtual studio audience. And I saw quite a few of you all, whether you ask questions or not. I can see quite a few of you all on. Make sure that if you do have questions, feel free to put them, and then Amani will be able to go back and check them, or reach out to him directly at 424-244-1443. Again, that's 424-244-1443. And you can also go to Amani, AMANI experience.com. You can email him at amani@amaniexperience.com. Make sure you get a copy of his Quiet Storm book, and you can get that right on the website, amaniexperience.com. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Any closing comment? We're going to get off.
Just show up, be resilient, stay persistent, and always think about what kind of creative risks you can take.
Yes. And on that note, everyone, thank you for tuning into today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. I love each and every one of you, and we'll see you again Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Saturdays on WDRBmedia.com at 9 o'clock p.m. Have a great day, everybody, and love you all. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show, and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you, and make it a great day.